Today we are going to be talking about streamlining your project estimates with Sage Intacct Construction. If you have any questions as we go through today's presentation, please put them in the chat. I am going to be monitoring that. And we do have time set aside at the end to answer any questions that you might have. Also, a common question we get is about a recording. So we are recording this, and the recording will be sent out after today's presentation. So a real quick agenda for today's meeting. I'm going to give you a brief intro into today's presenter as well as CompuData before really we dive into the meat and potatoes, which is the Sage Intacct Construction demonstration. And then lastly, again, we save time at the end to answer any questions that you might have. So please put those in chat. We can go to the next slide. I am Justin Van Druff. For those that don't know me, I am the Director of Sales here at CompuData. And leading today's webinar is our Sage Intacct Consulting Director, and that's Kayla Hall. And Kayla has a wealth of knowledge in the construction industry through her extensive experience as a Sage 300 Timberline and Intacct user. And now she helps our clients analyze internal processes, develop efficiencies, and automate workflows through the use of Intacct. If you're not familiar with CompuData yet, we are a woman-owned business. We have 50 years of experience providing business technology solutions for the SMB space. Along with construction accounting, which we're going to spend most of the time today talking about, we are technology experts. We specialize in optimizing complex operational issues through the use of technology so that our clients can run their businesses more efficiently. All right, we can go to the next chart. Within the Sage ecosystem, we are one of the highest tier partners. We are a Sage Diamond tier partner. Again, that's their highest tier. We have been with Sage for over 35 years with experience in migrating and implementing Sage solutions. Our team of certified Sage Intacct Construction consultants have the experience, resources, and methodologies needed to support a client in any type of subvertical in the construction industry. We are also a Microsoft Gold partner, as well as a Sage Service Delivery partner. Again, just highlighting our skill set in the underlying technologies in which allows companies to operate smoothly. So with that, I am going to hand it over to Kayla to take us through really the demonstration agenda, as well as a deep dive into the software itself.
All right, thanks, Justin. Oh, and I lost my notes. Let me find those. So today we're going to go over in Sage Intacct how we can easily add and import project estimates, specifically from third-party software systems. And then we can also, recognize any change orders or change revisions, pending change orders on those project estimates. We'll also be going over how we can track the project estimate or budget against cost, analyze project performance, give better transparency on project performance, and then we'll be going through some of the real-time project estimate reports in detail and the flexibility that Intacct offers, including the WIP report. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn my video off because my screen is over here on the right. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Justin, let me know when you can see my screen.
You are sharing and it looks good.
All right. So within Sage Intacct, if you are subscribed to Sage Intacct Construction, we do have the option to add project estimates. So you can see under the job module, we have job estimates. So if we navigate directly to the job estimate, we have the option to add manually, import an estimate with a CSV import file, and then import estimate with work breakdown structure. So I will be going over this in a little bit more detail, but first I just wanted to go over how we can manually add a project estimate. So right now, if we add manually, we have a document sequence turned on for the estimate ID. Description is not required. You would select a job ID here. I'll just go ahead and select a random job. We have a status, whether it's active, inactive, or finalized. We'll keep it as active. And this is mostly for reporting purposes, so we can filter estimates out that maybe are inactive or finalized. We also have estimate types. So these estimate types are ways that we can control the different workflows we have below. So for example, if I select current estimate, the selected estimate entry workflow types include original, approved change, revision, pending change, and other. If I go in here to view this, we can see the options that we have to edit. The only one I believe that's missing is the forecast. So we do have forecasts as well. These are all, again, just workflow types that we can add or edit as far as our estimate type goes. Usually what I like to do is just have one standard project estimate that includes all of the estimate workflow types, but there could be a use case where you'd want to filter that out. We also have the estimate date. So when you want to start the estimate, any attachments, so anything coming from our, any drawings or contracts that you want to include, you can include in the attachment field. I should mention that the attachment field, all the attachments are stored within Intacct, so it has its own database for storing documents. You can drag and drop files. We can control them into a folder for organization purposes. We can also search within the attachments the ID, name, and description, making it really easy to find specific documents. So the attachments functionality in Intacct is really strong as well. We don't have to select primary estimate. Our first estimate that we create for the job will automatically select the primary option here. Again, this is for reporting purposes. So if we have, another copy of our project estimate, that's for forecasting. If we want to filter out for reporting primary versus, a forecast, then we can do that. We have our job information that's going to pull from the job selected here. This is just information. And then we also have an option to integrate with a GL. So if we wanted to post the estimate to the GL to a budget book, like a primary project book or project forecast, we can have an unlimited amount of GL budgets here. This is so that we can bring this into dashboards and financial reports. We'll go ahead and leave that off for now. Another nice feature is that we have the option to select through different posting periods. So right now, if we select period of job begin date, it's going to look at the begin date of January 1st, 2022 to post the GL budget. If we want to do it period of estimate date, it's going to look at this estimate date to post that GL, to post the estimate to that GL. And then if we wanted to filter it through the estimate entry effective date, that is actually down at the line level. Each line can have its own effective date. So that's most likely the preferred way that you'll want to post it to the GL, but we can also distribute evenly to periods between job begin and end date. So the system automatically will do that. And so just quickly going through the workflow types from the estimate type above, we have the options here. We've got our job, we've got all of our cost codes that have been assigned to this job. So these are dependent on the job. We can filter those, the cost type, the item, which usually is mapped from the cost type, but if it's not, this is goods or services that we're buying or selling, the quantity, unit rate, amount, memo, and then if I show more details, you'll see that we have all of the dimensions across Intacct to select from. The GL account would default from the cost type, but I just wanted to quickly show this UI so that everyone understands how we can manually input this before we go through the import. And then the change request estimate entries. In my last webinar, I went through the change order workflows in Intacct and how we can create a change request that can be linked to not only the contract, but the project estimate. So that's where we would see those right here. And I'll go ahead and show you an example of a project estimate that already has lines in it. You can see the variety of lines here. And then the change requests. These are all done through the change management. So you don't have to go in and update the contract and the project estimate. You just go ahead and create a change request and it will update both simultaneously. Now that we've gone through manually adding a project estimate, this process would be for jobs that have already been created, cost codes that have already been assigned to the job, and then cost types that have been assigned to those cost codes. Now, if we have a project estimate that we've completed from a third party and there's not native integration, there are a couple third-party softwares that already do integrate with Intacct. We do have the option, again, like I mentioned, to import estimate with work breakdown structure. So this means that the job is not already created. If we go to our job list, we'll see that the WBS estimate import 2 is not here. We're going to actually create a job, create the cost codes and the corresponding cost types, as well as the project estimate with just one swale swoop, import file. So here's the import file here. We have our project estimate ID. We've got the description. I populated the estimate date. This is the project ID. So again, we're going to be creating this project ID here. This is the project name. This is going to be the project begin date, the end date, the type of project it is. Location, again, other dimensions that we're populating. And then these are the entries, the project estimate entries. So it's going to create the cost types and tasks that we have in the project estimate import. It's going to create those on the job with this import. So it's really taking care of all of the job hierarchy as well as importing the project estimate in one, like I said, in one import. We also have a couple other like the department dimension and again, the location dimension. And then I did put an effective date on each of the lines here. I did not include a budget book for this purpose, but you can put in a primary project or project forecast in this field here to link that to the GL. So again, I'll go ahead and save this as a CSV file. We'll go in here, we'll import with WBS. And this is a pretty standard way that we import files into Intacct. And really anywhere in the system we can import. Anywhere that you're going to be creating a transaction or dimension, we have the ability to import. So successfully imported one job estimate with WBS. If I go ahead and refresh my screen, we'll see that at the bottom. So again, we've got our WBS estimate 2, and it's the primary. If I go ahead and edit this, we'll see all of the lines that we've imported. If we go back to our job list, where we didn't have this job created, the third page, now we can see that the job is there. We have our name. We've got the associated cost codes from the import, and then each associated cost type that we've mapped. So again, really streamlining the process, the manual process of adding these into your ERP system is what this is taken care of. And you can see how easy that was. You have one import. Usually the third-party softwares, we can create a report that matches the format in which we can import directly. So it's literally just as easy as exporting and then importing into the ERP. Now, if I can show you some of the, and actually I'm going to go in here, forgot to select an estimate type, but we're going to go ahead and integrate this to the primary project using the effective estimate entry effective dates. Now, if I go into my financial report, if I come in here, go to financial reports, I've got one called project overview, project estimate, just to show the capability here. So in our columns, we have a column for a budget. This would be the project contract budget ID. So this is the contract here. And then we have a budget for, like I mentioned, the primary project or the project forecast. So if we select the primary project here, and we run this as of June 1st, we'll be able to see that import right here is the one we just created, project estimate 5,300, because we put the effective date of June 1st. If I go ahead and change this to April 30th, we'll see that it's not showing up. So again, we'll have a lot of flexibility. We can include these account groups in dashboards. We can change the reporting periods. We can change the column headings. A lot of the formatting we can do within the system in the financial reports, and a lot of different flexibility of what we're able to accomplish with just the financial report writer. Now to go take a look at some of the other reports that we have using the interactive custom report writer. So I've added most of the custom reports under jobs. So custom reports, anything that we create is available under the custom report menu. Let's go ahead and take a look at the WIP report first. And then we're going to go ahead and select our new job. So we just created this job, the estimate. We'll go ahead and view. So there's not going to be any other data, but we will see the project estimate column populated. So here's our original estimate. You can see we have, so interactive custom report writer is a lot like Excel where we can create calculations. So you can see that if we did have a contract amount and then actual job costs, we'd be able to calculate, our cost to complete, our estimated profit, estimated gross margin, calculated percent complete, any profit recognized, billings to date, over and under billings. So for example, if I select another project, I can go ahead and show you this WIP report. I believe this is a good one. So again, you can see how we have transparency. And if we wanted to break out the estimate into the different estimate types, we can do that as well. So again, this is the WIP report. Going back to, okay, here's another estimate. This is building the actual report here. But you can see how we've differentiated it by cost type. So we're actually filtering it out by labor, subcontract, material, equipment, other. So that's one of the options of a different report that we can run. We can also go back to the jobs custom report and pull a project estimate detail. I'm actually at the top level now, so I need to go to general construction. Then we have the new job that we created. You can also create dimension groups. So if we wanted to create jobs by project manager, then we can actually show all of the project detail or job cost, any type of detail that you want to include by project manager, which would include all their projects. So you can see we didn't have any revisions or approved cost changes or pending cost changes with this estimate, but you can see the breakdown here of all of the different cost codes, cost code name, cost types, and then the estimates that were associated with all of those. And then the total estimates here. And then last but not least, we've got one other report that I'd like to show is the labor estimate and actual hours. So we didn't bring in a lot of labor hours. We don't have any actuals to show on our new job. But this one here, you can see, okay, here's our estimated labor hours. This is going to be from the project estimate, the cost, labor cost, and then we have our actual labor hours versus actual labor cost. So we do have a lot of flexibility to meet the needs of what you want your report to look like in Intacct. And this is just a few examples in kind of different formats just to kind of show. So we can schedule these reports to be sent out on a daily basis or weekly basis. We can export these to a number of different data files. We can add these to dashboards, like I said, with performance indicators. So tons of flexibility to give you transparency into your project estimate in detail. So again, using that effective date at the line entry or dimensions at the line entry, we can really consolidate and the system really offers a lot of flexibility in creating those reports that you need. So that was all that I had to present today. Go back to Zoom. Michelle, if you want to bring back up the PowerPoint. So again, hopefully this gave you a good understanding of what we're able to accomplish with Sage Intacct CRE. We can link project estimates with various workflow types. We can link the change requests to the estimate, assign effective dates to the project estimate lines. We can compare estimated costs against actuals. We can associate estimate lines with Intacct dimensions with all of the different variety of Intacct dimensions that we have. We can post costs to a budget to link to a financial report or dashboard. We can also determine the best posting period, like I mentioned, from the variety of options. And then I also really briefly touched on the flexibility in the custom project estimate reports that we have the ability to create in the system.
All right. So Kayla, I appreciate you walking us through that. It was super, super helpful. Did have a couple of questions.
Okay.
The first one, and you mentioned this in kind of the agenda, but I think it just requires a little further clarification.
Sure.
So the question is, if an estimate, if it's an estimate, why would I post it in the GL, right? If it's unknown and it's been accepted, and at what price, right? So they're
Right.
basically saying, hey.
Yep. It's a lot like a budget, right? Like a corporate overhead budget. It's not real dollar amount that you'd post to like your accrual book, which is the same thing as our contracts or commitments, how we track those. It's all part of another set of book, right? That we can bring in just for transparency and visibility. So not that it's going to be part of any type of audit or, it's just an estimate. So it doesn't have to be 100% accurate, because you're never going to get an estimate 100% accurate, right? So it's just a book giving us the ability to show what we initially estimated the project to cost, to compare against our actuals, so that next time we might be able to increase, the revenue that we incurred, or if we're not budgeting high enough, or if we're over budgeting, right, or estimating, we would have greater visibility on that to analyze how we can improve in the future.
Perfect. Hopefully that answer was sufficient. If there's other ones out there, I have two more. But as we go through answering those questions, if there's other ones that people have, certainly add them to the chat. I'll make sure that we get them answered on here.
And I just have one clarification. So the ICRW reports that I showed, those do not require the project estimate to be linked to the GL budget. So if you didn't want to link those to the GL budget, we can still create a lot of reports with visibility on the detail of the project estimate and compare those to project costs, etc. Just the financial reports and dashboards will be required to link to a GL budget in order to have that visibility. So hopefully that clarifies that.
Perfect. The next question we have is, I guess, about deletion. Can you delete project estimates once they are imported?
You can. So we have a lot of visibility to make any type of edits. At any point in the project, we can edit a project estimate if you have the right permissions to do so. You can delete project estimates, you can re-import, and that's kind of the whole point of the primary versus unprimary, or that checkbox, because you can have a variety of different project estimates. If you're changing your estimate as the project progresses, we can change the different primary for reporting purposes. But yes, you can edit and delete as many project estimates as you need.
Perfect. Hopefully that answered that question. Again, keep them coming. I only have one left, so no more have come through. We only had 3. We usually have a couple more, so I think you're doing a good job explaining everything.
Okay.
The last one is, can you modify the budget book once the estimate is posted?
Yep. So going back to the last question, we can make any type of edits. So moving the estimate book if we need to, taking or even removing it from posting to the GL, we can do that as well. It's not going to lock it down by any means. And closing the books is not going to affect it either.
Great. All right. Well, we don't have any more Q&A. Actually, one just came through. Will this recording be sent to me? It will be sent out. So we can kind of go to the next. We have just kind of some wrap up slides. If there's other questions that you have that you're typing away, make sure you get them in there. We'll answer them. But we've included some additional resources here for your review. We have some informative blogs that are written by our consulting experts on our website. You should definitely check those out, and follow us on LinkedIn as well, so you don't miss when new blogs are released. And then lastly is our contact info, right? So as we wrap up here, we want to thank everyone for joining us. If you have any additional questions or need further clarification, feel free to reach out to us either by phone or email or chat, which is on our website. So I'll give it another 10 seconds here on the questions. Doesn't look like we have anything else that's going to come through. So this is going to conclude today's presentation. We hope you found it informative. We do these regularly, so we hope to see you on the next one. Be sure to let us know if there are any topics you want us to cover in the future. So we do generate these by basically commonly asked questions that we see. So appreciate everyone joining us, and we'll end the meeting here. Thanks so much.
Thank you.